Okay, so I am 35 years old. I live in Kansas City, and 5 years ago I was gifted with a pancreas and kidney transplant. Last month in January, after about 3.5 years of continuous infections and trouble and mess, they decided my kidney has failed, and I started on dialysis. So right now I have a chest catheter port until we can get a fistula placed in my arm and have that mature so we can do it through my arm. And it has not been easy. I knew it was coming in a small sense. Like, we had touched upon it in doctor's appointments for a little while about, I might eventually need to go on it before I can get another transplant if, we can't get me approved and listed and matched in time. But in the hospital, it came kind of down to an emergency dialysis situation where I was really, really sick, and the doctor just came in and said, we have to do this now. And I was in so much pain and so much, just like the nausea and the infection, just everything. I was so sick that it all happened, and I don't quite really remember even. I just remember them telling me, it's okay, we will put you under so that you don't feel this, and thank God. And so they did, bam, bam, bam. They did 3 sessions in 3 days, starting at 2 hours and moving up, and now I do 3.5 hours. And I mean, those first 3 days were hard. I left the hospital. I didn't feel good because I still had an infection that I had to take antibiotics for. But I was really wiped out. And I've been wiped out and tired for the last 20 years. So it's nothing new. It's just it's still hard. But I've been going to the dialysis center now for almost 3 weeks. And I think out of those, so I go 3 times a week for 3.5 hours. And out of those, the sessions I've done so far, I think I've left feeling good and feeling like, wow, this is great. One time. It kind of takes up my whole day, even though it's 3.5 hours. It takes up my whole day. I can't do much. And I'm just ready for that to not be the case. I'm ready for everything to settle down and then to, get more familiar with like my body and how I react to things and how much fluid to pull and how much solution to use. Like, I don't really understand dialysis, to be honest with you. I don't really need to. I don't think, I'm all for learning about it, but at the same time, like, when they first started talking to me about this, it could be coming up in the near future, they talked to me both about like perinatal PD dialysis, and then hemodialysis, which is what I'm on. And also about, you can do these at your home or in a clinic. And immediately I was like, no, I am not doing this in my apartment. For many reasons. First of all, like, I don't want my apartment to look like a hospital. And doing that at home, you have to have a lot of boxes of supplies and the dialyzer and just a whole section of your home or your apartment set up for that purpose. And I mean, my apartment's not really small. It's a pretty nice sized apartment, but I wasn't willing to give up. And I also don't have a lot of closet space or empty areas to put all these boxes. And so that was like one of the biggest reasons. And also, I would have to go through training, and I'd have to be responsible for all this, sterile things that I'd have to do. And I just don't want to have to learn how to do all of that when I can go to a clinic and they just take care of everything. Like, they clean my site and change my dressing, and they hook it up and they unhook it, and they do all the doodads in the little machine, and to me, that's just like, why wouldn't I do that? And I know that's not the case for everybody. And there's a lot of people that think the opposite of me that want to do it at their home. You know, and I think that if I, you know, had a family or I had like a full-time job or anything like that, I might make a different decision. But for me, and I can get into, I will get into this more in later videos, but like I work very, very part-time. I don't need 40 hours a week spent to going to work right now. And I'm tired a lot. So, I mean, I don't have a lot of big like adventures planned where I was gonna go like hike a mountain or go on, I don't know, like a trip anywhere for elongated periods of time. Or, you know, I don't, it's not that I don't have 3.5 hours 3 times a week to devote to this. I absolutely do. And the dialysis center is less than 2 miles away from my apartment. So to me, it's just like, was 100% the route for me. And I have a lot of stomach issues. I have gastroparesis on top of like kidney disease, which makes just my stomach always just irritable. And I just didn't, and PD dialysis is they do like a port thing through your stomach, through your abdomen, and it cleanses your blood inside of your body. And I'm just thinking my tummy does not need all that extra stuff going on inside of it because it doesn't like to work enough as it is. So yeah, I mean, dialysis doesn't hurt. I've heard that once you have your fistula and they have to poke it in like every time for it, it hurts a little. Like, that could hurt a little bit, but I mean, I've been, you know, before my pancreas transplant, I was diabetic for most of my life, and so I was used to pricking my finger, you know, up to 8-9 times a day and giving myself shots multiple times a day. So that doesn't scare me, or I'm not nervous about that at all. But it's a lot. It's been a lot, and I really try to not exude this I'm sick persona. Because I don't want that to be how I'm viewed, even if I can't really control how people view me. I don't want people's pity, because a lot of times sometimes, but there are times when I tell people what's going on and I just can feel, and maybe it's not even pity, but I don't like worrying people, and I don't like drawing attention to myself like that. But at the same time, I also wonder, like, maybe I should be more of an advocate for people that are going through this, or people that have been through other things in my life that I've been through, because I don't really mind talking in front of people, and I don't really mind, even though I don't go out of my way to talk about the issues that I've dealt with in my life. It doesn't mean that I don't have the ability to. I am blessed to not really have stage fright, and not, I have a good voice. I know that sounds weird. I've had a couple of phone jobs and I have a great phone voice, and I have a pretty hospitable persona, like at work when I'm at the front desk. Like, I have a welcoming face and a welcoming personality, and I don't want that to sound like I'm so wonderful, but it's true. And there are so many other things that are wrong about my body and my life and stuff that I'm not gonna negate the fact that I know that I have a warm demeanor and personality when I meet people. So I don't know. I was talking to my sister on the phone recently, and she was just laughing at some of the things I was saying, and she was just like, you need to like just start like a YouTube or something. And I was like, I don't know. And then I thought about it, and I was like, you know, I've kind of been thinking about that, because I watched a couple of people's like YouTube channels that talk about like the serious stuff that's going on, and I think I applaud them for speaking out about what's going on, because it brings awareness to people that don't know. And been thinking, like, I have the ability to do that. So maybe this will open the door to doing more of these, but this is my initial starting point.